Okay. Aloha, everybody. It's 9:00. This is the Hawaii Housing and Finance Development Corporation's regular Board of Directors meeting of October 10th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order. So first off, I'd like Essa to please take roll call.
Today in attendance, we have Vice Chair Carol Ryman and Directors Sean Sasaki, Jason Bradshaw, Scott Glenn, Designee Mary Alice Evans. I believe that's it.
So
A total of 5.
5, so we have quorum. Okay, thank you. For those attending remotely, please let us know if there's anybody with you. If so, who that might be.
Hi, this is Scott Glenn. I'm alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
John?
this is John Sasaki. I'm by myself.
Do we have Jay? No? Okay, not Jay. Okay, thank you. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to those both in the room and as well as those attending remotely. At this time, I'd like to ask Gordon Tan to please come up and set the ground rules for public testimony. Gordon?
Hi, good morning, Acting Chair, board members. Good morning, I'm Gordon Pang, HHFDC Housing Information Officer. Members of the public, we kindly request that you write your name legibly on the attendance sheet that is outside of our door here as you enter the meeting room. This will help us maintain a better record. Separately, anyone in the public who wishes to present oral testimony today should also sign up on the testifier sheet. You may also indicate your intent to do so by signaling to the chair. Your testimony must be related to item on the board agenda and your name will be called when the item comes up on the agenda. We ask that you begin your testimony, before you begin your testimony, you identify yourself and spell your name in a clear manner for the record. After 3 minutes, you will hear an obnoxious sound coming from my phone and I will call time. Within 15 seconds to conclude your testimony, please keep in mind that this is an opportunity for you to share your thoughts with the board. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor staff is required to respond. If you want to submit written testimony, instructions on submitting written testimony can be found on the front page of this agenda under the section titled Public Testimony. All for your cooperation.
Thank you, Gordon. So once again, we'll invite the public to give testimony on each item as we go through the agenda. Moving on to section 2, approval of minutes. We have in front of us the regular meeting of September 12th, 2024. Is there a motion to? Thank you, Jason. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary Alice. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries. And now on to item C, the special meeting of September 13th, 2024. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Jason. Second?
Second.
Mary Alice, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Okay, motion carries. We have a majority. Thank you. So how do I handle the executive session?
Oh, we'll just defer that to when we go into executive.
Okay, okay. So item B is executive session minutes, and we will defer that till later. Thank you. So item section 3, discussion and/or decision making. Item A, to accept the audited financial statements of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation's Nani Opuna project for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024 and 2023.
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion? Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Good morning, Vice Chair Ryman and members of the board. I am Melissa Loy, HHFDC Corporate Controller. Polly Sumi, the Chief Financial Officer, was unable to attend today's meeting. The Nanio Puna project is the corporation's dwelling unit revolving fund, aka DERF. The project is located in Puna on the island of Hawaii and is comprised of 31 rentable units and 1 resident manager unit to house domestic farmers, which was funded through grants and a mortgage note with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The USDA requires an annual audit, which is the primary reason of this board action. The audited financial statements of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation's Nanio Puna project for the fiscal years ended June 30, 2024 and 2023 have been completed in Exhibit A. The auditor, Acuity LLP, issued the project's audited financial statements on September 30, 2024. Two reports were issued. First, Independent Auditor's Report, page 1 to 3. The auditor rendered an unmodified or clean opinion on the June 30, 2024 financial statement. The audit for the prior year ended June 30, 2023 was issued by ID Bailey LLP on March 15, 2024, who expressed an unmodified opinion. Second, Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control, pages 11 to 12. The auditor did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that are considered material weaknesses and no instances of non-compliance noted during the project audit. Page 4, the statements of net position presents the assets, liabilities, and net position as of June 30, 2024 and 2023. Page 5, statements of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position presents the fiscal year 2024 and 2023 activities of revenues, expenses, and transfers that contributed in the change in net position. The project's total net position decreased by approximately $46,000 or 5.6% to approximately $773,000 as of June 30, 2024, as compared to approximately $819,000 as of June 30, 2023. The decrease was primarily attributed to net operating loss of approximately $12,000, net transfers to the dwelling unit revolving fund of approximately $33,000, and interest expense of approximately $1,000 for the mortgage with U.S. Department of Agriculture. Page 6, the statement of cash flows shows the cash provided by or used for the project. Net cash and restricted cash decreased by $32,000 as of June 30, 2024, mainly due to the net transfer to the dwelling unit revolving fund. As required under the terms of the mortgage agreement, the audited financial statement shall be submitted to the USDA by the deadline extended to October 31, 2024. Our staff's recommendation is that the HHFDC Board of Directors accept the audited financial statements of the HHFDC's Nanio Puna project for the fiscal years ended June 30, 2024 and 2023. Are there any questions?
Any questions, board members? Okay, hearing none. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. All right,
Aye.
okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Item B, discussion on modification to the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation's new leasehold policy under the residential leasehold program. Staff to present.
Raining.
Good morning.
Members.
That is discussion, so no motion.
Members of the board, Lorna Kometani, Real Estate Services Section Chief. At the December 2018 board meeting, the board established the HHFDC leasehold policy permitted interaction group, or the PIG, to review and recommend possible modifications to the current leasehold policies, which is comprised of HHFDC leasehold portfolio, which is attached as Exhibit B, governing statutes and rules, lease structure and provisions, and HHFDC's lease term extension policy, collectively the leasehold policy. In January of 2022, the board, at the board meeting, the group presented its findings and recommendations as summarized in section 2B of this board action, which is to establish a lease policy, a new lease policy that is fair and equitable for all, to establish a long lease term of 99 years with fixed rent for the initial 55 years become common practice and covers HHFDC's administrative costs, and standardize lease provisions to effectively manage and enforce the lease based on current policies, regulations, and preventing speculation and maintaining property value. Subsequently, at the February 2022 board meeting, the new leasehold policy, referred to as HHFDC's residential leasehold policy, was approved as indicated in the attached Exhibit A. This policy will be applicable to approximately 539 leasehold lots in 13 housing developments on Oahu, Hawaii, and Molokai. This policy, however, excludes leasehold lots in Waiahole Valley. Real Estate Services oversees the administration of the homeownership program, including these 539 leasehold lots. The projects were developed from 1974 to 1994, as indicated at the bottom of page 1 of this board discussion, with a 55-year lease term, therefore ending in 2029-2030. The lease term extension policy, which is part of the lease policy, as indicated on the top of page 2 of this board discussion, allows for an extended lease term ending in December 2055, ending in December 31, 2055, and is allowed only for mortgage purposes. With this broad range of lease term expiration dates, we currently have an estimated 246 leases in 4 projects that will be expiring as early as 2030. And therefore, we are going through the process of setting up this new leasehold policy in order to effectuate a 99-year lease for these residents. Of the 246 leases that are expiring in 2030, a combined 122 owner occupants and 124 investor leases are set to expire. In expectation of the expiring leases, the Real Estate Services section has updated its existing internal procedures to implement a strict leasehold policy in order to prepare lessees for the transition of a new lease, long-term lease. However, before we can start the process of this transition, rules are required, which is bringing us here today. So we'd like to have a discussion because review of the current and new leasehold policies suggests modifications to the previous board approved recommendations as indicated in section 3A. In order to finalize the proposed draft rules, we would like to establish the new lease rents for administrative purposes and increase the land value. An increase in land value during the fixed lease rent period, and to also establish a premium to prevent an owner from making a windfall due to the value created by this 99 lease. Exhibit C, attached to this for discussion, is provided for discussion.
Thank you. Board members, any discussion? Any questions? Yes.
Yes, Chair, thank you. Lorna, I know that the reopeners are 10/20. This would be starting the extension of the lease from 2030 to 2055.
Yes, that's correct.
Was there any consideration in having annual smaller increases to make those, sorry, Gordon, to make those lease increases predictable and less less costly to the lessee?
Yes, so I should have gone over this exhibit C before we started. But initially, the board approved a 2% rate of return. Which is annually, which is less than our usual 4% rate of return. According to statutes, chapter 519. And the policy currently is to increase the rent at 30% increase of the lease rent, the current lease rent in 10-year intervals. Based on our review of the leases, there were some leases that had a 20-year term as opposed to 10-year. So we're looking at fixing the lease rent for a total of 55 years based on the 2% rate of return. And the modification that we're suggesting is to fix it for the 20-year term to avoid that more changes as opposed to in 10-year increments. So we're extending the fixed period to address the question that you have in providing a lower lease and changes, increases to the lease rent so that it's a little bit more stable for a longer period.
But a larger increase at that real. I'm not understanding.
If I may, Chair, jump in. I think the question may be whether we've, hi, Chris, whether we've just considered more regular annual increases so that it's more gradual and predictable. Let's just get used to each year I have to pay another rent increases by 3% rather than large step ups every 10 to 20 years.
That's the question.
Okay. Yes, it seems like a larger increase in lease rent. However, the net effect would be the same.
No, understood completely.
Yes.
But from a lessee's perspective, they go along for 10 years or 20 years, and then whoops,
Yes, and because we're fixing it, right, say less in 2030, we're fixing it for the 55-year term. What we want to make sure is that the lease rent will cover the cost during that 55-year term. So we're fixing it based on 2% right now with the intent or with the understanding that at maybe 15 years increments, right, if we do an analysis, we want to make sure that it covers the costs that we're incurring to monitor these leases. So while it might seem a higher rate of return or a higher increase, the net effect is basically this. Because we're fixing it at a value that is 20 years old. Does that answer your question?
yes. I can see that for HHFDC's policies, it ensures that costs are covered. I'm just trying to think of it from the lessee's perspective. Thinking that a smaller increase every year would be easier to budget for than a steady amount for 10 or 20 years and then step up.
I see.
Just a thought.
What we found is that when the lease rents change, it makes it harder for the lessee. So if it changes every year, administratively, it might make it difficult for us, but from the lessee standpoint, whenever a change happens, it makes it harder for them to adjust to the new change. And that's when we see the improvements, for example, and more confusion because of the fact that the changes are being made more frequent.
I think that's something we can look at. So
Yes, that's definitely something.
annual increase for instead of 10 years or 3 years. Any large jump in lease rent could cause a hardship.
I can foresee, let's see, this coming to this board in 10 or 20 years with some stories of hardship because, and asking them to have a hardship change because whereas I understand your point, that the annual small step up, still a change, and so therefore can have a lessee who's used to paying a certain. But I'm guessing that it's only a small amount, like 1 or 2%, whatever you said 2% and then 4%, 6%. That broken out over annually would be a very small increase. So even if it's just one fixed income, which is Social Security, they get a cost of living increase every year. So they might. Just a thought.
Something I just want to mention that the Waimanalo leases are a little difficult also because the land values are so high.
Yeah.
So it's something that we're still looking at because most of our affordable portfolio, the land value of those units is maybe under $100,000. Waimanalo is $700,000 for those homes. So of course, that means their lease rent based on 3% is pretty high. We're looking at what would be a fair amount there also.
Oh, I didn't realize you were basing it on market appraisals.
Oh, no, it's not. It's assessed land value.
Taxes.
It's not market
Tax
appraisal.
appraisals. Yeah. Ouch.
Yes,
That is hard
yes.
on tenants.
So we are still
But
looking at that.
10, 20 years, I can imagine what that's gonna be. Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your
Oh,
indulgence.
no, good questions and comments. Board, any other questions, comments? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move along.
I have some comments.
I'm sorry, yes, public testimony.
Yes, so I am from Holly out.
Identify yourself.
Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Nani Brown. I am here from Waimanalo, Hale au Puni. And I know, sorry, emotional. Okay. I'm not used to speaking like this. I'm not used to wearing color shirt or anything. So this affects me brutally because I have friends and family in Waihole, and I saw what was happening to them. And I'm already kind of underground on that house in Waimanalo. So I wanted to sell it. We have to go through approval. I had my realtor do all that. At first, I had multiple buyers. Trust me, everybody want a house in Waimanalo, but I am Hawaiian. My realtor's Hawaiian. We wanted to make sure that, we found a native Hawaiian buyer, which we did. Anyways. So at first, in our correspondence with Tammy, she said, okay, no worries. For the purpose of the loan, which is something Lorna was talking about, we will extend the lease. Okay, come back. No, we don't do that. Okay. So then we had to get an appraiser for the land, and then they started redoing the lease. Right now, as a single mom, 2 kids, I pay $146 a month for the lease rent. When they recalculated that, they are expecting me to pay $2,000 a month. Now, then it gets worse. So I understand that the play with words in our net is the same and all that. That's a really fun game, word game to play for people that does not affect. But for someone like me, that means like, bruh, we're gonna lose everything. You know what I mean? I have $300,000 in the house. And then now I have to, well, I've been waiting for 1 year for an appraisal. And I still haven't got one. But if we go by the tax assessed land value, which I paid taxes on the full land value at, last I heard it was like 769,000. So if it's anywhere near that, just to get any money back at all, I am asking people to take out a loan for over $1 million. And I would have to carry the loan in order to buy the property first, in order to sell it, right? All this complicated stuff. So over $1 million for a 3,750 square foot lot attached duplex. So even with our current market values, nobody's paying 1 million for that. Even though, yes, I'm very well aware median home price is, $850 to 1 million, depending on what island you're on. But from what I understood, HHFDC had a mission, to help people in Hawaii with housing. And I just feel like, especially this in particular, is kind of perpendicular to the mission. So, like I said, I've made multiple requests to buy the lease, buy the land, and the formal process has been going on for over 1 year. And then informally, I had tried to see if I could buy the land like 3 years ago, which, wow, that would have been smart, because then before COVID hit, because before COVID hit, it wasn't too bad, but now it's really bad. So basically, and I wish that, of course, I'm speaking for myself, but also I know a lot of people in that community that this could be devastating for them. And I would appreciate just a fair opportunity, a way in or a way out. Because, when we're talking about $1 million, that's kind of a lot. I work construction. I don't know how much longer I can. This stuff doesn't come off. So anyways, that is just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other wanting to provide? Last.
Good morning, everybody. Madam Chair, Mr. Executive Director. Well, for the opportunity. So I have to tell you that when I saw this item on your agenda, I got all excited. As a very strong proponent for homeownership, we always look at the different opportunities that we can identify that can help our people actually get an opportunity to root themselves into this item, right? And so the fact that HHFDC has a lease policy on their lands, I think is a very advantageous opportunity for our community to gain access to permanent housing in Hawaii. So one of the things that I was looking at was your discussion points, the concerns and stuff that you guys have. And after hearing Pita talk about her concerns and the impact it's going to have on her, for those of you that know me, I've been a beneficiary advocate on behalf of my home beneficiaries for over 30 years. And one of the unique things about the Hawaiian Homelands Trust is that in the law, there's no property tax attached to the land, number one. Okay, so regardless of what the assessed or market value may be for that property, Hawaiian Homes doesn't pay taxes on it. That's number one. The second part, and more interesting, is that the tax is only on the improvements that you put on the INA. Okay, so and that's something that you guys all have to work on anyway. So I want you guys to consider taking a look at your property holdings to determine if there's an opportunity to be able to work with the county council here on Oahu to render those state lands dedicated for affordable housing as being exempt from property tax. Okay, so for the county of Maui, and actually all the counties across the state, we were able to work with the individual county councils to bring down the property tax value for Hawaiian homeland. Okay. Kauai County, for example, our lessees pay $25 a year. On Maui, we pay minimum tax, which is $350 a year, regardless of the size of the parcel. Okay. So it's something to consider. And if this body is interested in something like that, KP COA can actually help with advocating at the county council level to make that happen. And I think that's an important investment for us as affordable housing advocates to help you in whatever way you can. 569 units being made available for home ownership, I think is a great opportunity for our people. The second thing that I wanted to bring forward is that I did have a concern with the recommendation that you do the increase on the lease rents in 10-year increments. And, you know, Ms. Evans, I think you're very much correct in that having that increment come, whether it's within a decade, can be a big financial burden to the individual family. Incremental increases annually works because if you have to pay property tax, that's exactly what happens. If you got to pay for your property insurance, that's exactly what happens. So it's a given and an expectation that your costs will rise. Okay. The other thing that I think is important to note is that in your document, you're talking about the existing properties that you guys have that you guys want to put up for home ownership. If there is a future opportunity for HHFDC to continue to do this, consider that there are other types of housing programs that could probably be much more advantageous to HHFDC and the state. The other thing that I wanted to bring forward is that as a body who actually oversees the HUD voucher system, it's something I think that you guys can work on because, you know, your rental vouchers are eligible for ownership. I know most of the counties have stopped that part of the program because the cost of housing is so high, right? But the opportunity that you present to our communities as an affordable housing agency means that you get to regulate that cost of construction or the cost of the home. And you can do that through subsidies that you can get either through HUD, through CDFIs, through the state legislature, and from the counties. So it helps to bring the cost of that down, making it more affordable. And for those that hold a HUD voucher, that voucher can be used to help pay off their mortgage every month, right? And that may be able to include your lease payments. Okay. The other opportunity is project-based vouchers, right? So you can take a bunch of vouchers that are not in use right now and apply it to the project as a whole, and you can reduce costs that way. So there's a lot of different opportunities. I'd like to have that opportunity to talk more with Ms. Komitani on potentials moving forward. And if there's anything we can do to help move that needle faster for our community, we're more than happy to assist. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else wanting to offer public testimony? Anybody online? Okay, thank you.
Chair.
Yes.
Excuse me, may I please make a comment?
Sure, please state your name.
Kathy Oshiro.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you. I would like the board to give a detailed explanation why Waihoʻoli leases are excluded from HFDC's residential leasehold policy. Further, please, can you please make available your exhibit that was just mentioned by staff?
Our website.
It's on the website.
It was on, okay, thank you.
Part of the meeting material packet. And with respect to why Waihoʻoli leases are not subject to this policy, basically, the Waihoʻoli leases are much lower than what this policy establishes. The Waihoʻoli is always seen as a special case where the rents would be lower than what was established by implemented interaction group 2 years ago.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other discussion from the public? Seeing none, okay, we're gonna move along. Item C, to approve the program year 2025 allocation plan for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's National Housing Trust Fund Program. Is there a motion to? Thank you, Jason. Can I get a second?
Second.
Mary Alice, thank you. Is there anybody from the public who'd like to provide testimony on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, staff?
Thank you, Acting Chair. My name is Claude Allen, and I'm a housing finance specialist with the Federal Program section of the Finance Branch. The state of Hawaii receives about $3 million each year from the in National Housing Trust Fund funds from HUD, the acronym HTF, which we'll be using in this brief presentation. HHFDC is the designated HTF grantee for the state. We receive the funds for the state and administer those funds. HHFDC is required to submit a board-approved HTF allocation plan to HUD each year, which describes how the funds will be distributed and used. Today's staff is requesting board approval of the PY 2025 HTF allocation plan. You'll find that is attached to your for action as Exhibit A. This morning, I would like to very briefly just highlight 5 key pieces of information that's in the for action and describe 2 changes from last year's allocation plan before we formally present staff's recommendations to approve the PY 25 HTF allocation plan. The for action contains a lot of information, but I'm going to point out just five key items I think that kind of you need to know. First of all, the HTF program was established by Title I of the Housing and Economic Recovery Act of 2008, Section 1131. It's administered by HUD under 24 CFR Part 93. HHFDC can provide HTF funding for affordable housing projects either directly or through county governments or other qualified entities as subgrantees. HHFDC is the grantee. We can make subgrantees to help us administer that program. HHFDC funds are used for rental housing projects. HHFDC retains 5% of HTF funds for administration cost and then offers half of the balance to the city and county of Honolulu, presently through the Department of Community Services, and then the other half to the counties that are next in the rotation for home funds. In other words, for example, in PY 23, Maui was in the rotation for home funds. They received home funds that year and HTF funds. Last year, 2024, the County of Hawaii was in the rotation, so they received home and HTF funds. This year, the County of Kauai is in the rotation. The city and county has not expressed an interest in receiving HTF funds since PY 20. HTF offered PY 2025 HTF funds to the city on August 3rd, 2023. And the city needed to provide HHFDC with a formal written response by June 1st, 2024, a few months ago. No written response was received, but city staff has indicated that the city may be interested in HTF funds in the future. And by the way, very recently, HHFDC did offer the city 2026 funding back on September 17th. And we would look for a response from the city's 2026 funds by June 1st, 2025. But since the city is not taking their portion of the 2025 funds, these funds will be offered to the County of Kauai pending board approval today. The County of Kauai does plan to accept those funds. There's two changes to the PY25 HTF allocation plan that differs from last year's plan. So I would like to point those out. First of all, the distribution of the HTS funds is, of course, revised from the County of Hawaii, which was last year, and updated to our proposal this year that the County of Kauai receive those funds. You'll see that on the chart on page 2 of the allocation plan. The second change from last year is the HTF maximum per unit development subsidy limits are updated from the 2022 public housing total development cost, TDC limits, we call it, to the most recently available limits, which is currently the 2023 TDC limits. We're just updating the limits that are on the chart on page 6 of the allocation plan, just getting the most current HUD approved limits. I do want to add that those TDC limits that are in effect at the time that, let's say, the County of Hawaii commits their HTF funds, if you approve it today, the HT limits that HUD that is in effect at the time they commit those funds, those will be the limits. So the limits in that chart may change. We do expect HUD to change those limits anytime the next few weeks, days, or months. But we will update that in our document. At this time, staff formally recommends that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following. Approve the PY 2025 HTF allocation plan as recommended by staff, subject to public comments. After the public comments, authorize the executive director to approve the PY 25 HTF allocation plan, provided that no substantive amendments are required. And authorize the executive director to take all actions necessary to effectuate the purposes of this action. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Boyd?
No questions.
No questions, no comments? Board members, anybody, any questions, comments? Seeing none, okay. Thank you. So we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 We have unanimous ayes, motion carries. Thank you.
Can we just note for the record that Director Scott Glenn left at 9:38. He will return, but prior to that, Director Kimura joined. So we
Okay.
still have a forum.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We're on item D. Approve an extension to the rental housing revolving fund letter of intent for the Hale Uhiwai Nalu Phase 2 project located in Kapolei, Oahu, TMK number 191013052, portion thereof. Can I get a motion? Okay, thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Second. So we have a motion and a second. Is there anybody from the public who'd like to offer a public testimony? Oh, I'm sorry.
Pane, there's a hand up.
Okay, I see a hand up. Oh, Pane? Would you like to provide testimony?
Sure, yes. Aloha, Chair. Members of,
Aloha,
Council.
thank you.
So hi, my name is Pane Meatonga, Panemeatoga. Deputy Political Director for Operating Engineers Local 3. Just had some comments in regards to the approval of this extension in regards to Governor Green's Administrative Directive number 24-01 and Comptroller's Memorandum 2024-20 in regards to PLAs that shall be covered projects for all state projects and funding. So our position and our recommendation is delaying any issuance or extensions until more information and can clarify how the PLA affects these types of projects. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Nathaniel. Please unmute and proceed.
Can the members of the board hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we'd like to echo similar concerns as raised by the operating engineers. I know we're all in a rush to build as much affordable housing as possible, and I know that you guys have been instrumental in that process. But we just wanted to make sure that there's protections that are in place to make sure that the right people with the right contractors are doing the right thing. And since this was an initiative that was started by the governor some time ago, and they gave, I believe, 6 months of lead time to all of the administrative agencies to incorporate the project labor agreement into various RFPs. Now, I understand after talking with some of the other administrative agencies that you could do this by adding an addendum and notifying potential bidders or RFP people that you've selected to respond to RFPs. But either way, we're just trying to understand at what point is HHFDC going to start inserting these things into RFPs? And then when we notice that a couple of the projects that are on the agenda, they're using non-signatory contractors. So it's like, okay, well, that would be the perfect time to have a sit down with these contractors, have them come execute a project labor agreement with not just the carpenters, but the operators and all of the building trades unions. So again, we're just trying to find out when HHFDC is going to be doing these things, and would love if you guys could give us an understanding of that process and when it's going to take place. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other persons wanting to provide testimony?
Behind you.
Behind. Oh, Blossom, please step in.
Hey, we're not gonna play merry-go-round. Sit down.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's excellent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I do need to echo what the union representation has said. I think that one of the key concerns that we have in our community is the considerable lack of workforce, particularly in the trades. And a lot of that is largely due to the fact that they can't afford to live here. They cannot afford to buy what they're building. And so as a state agency, there is a mandate that you pay prevailing wages, right, on any government funded contract. But I think that when we look at the level of expertise that the unions bring to the table in terms of trainings and certifications, particularly in the building trades, that we do need to consider building that into the contracts moving forward. The other thing is that as you know, I'm in strong support of approving the extension for this. At this point in time in our affordable housing lives, we need every advantage that we can take. And if it means that we need to extend these contracts so that they have more time to plan properly and to be able to engage the union guys and get those contracts and signatories in place prior to approval, I think we need to take that step. And so, yeah. So that would be for all of the items that are asking for extension, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Blossom. Board members, any discussion?
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, Brad, are you providing testimony?
Well, I'm with the developer. I'm wondering if we have a chance to address the issue.
Sure.
Okay. I believe I also have Tim Cantwell, our owner, on the line. But I'm Brad Bridwell, BRIDWELL. I'm with Cloudbreak Hawaii and Cantwell Anderson, the developer of the project. We have created a campus there on VA federal lands under an enhanced use lease, covering about 168 permanent supportive housing units for homeless veterans, and are working on an expansion. This project is actually a replication of a prior project completed in 2018 to add an additional 50 units of permanent supportive housing for chronically homeless veterans. Its original solicitation was bid in 2018. We experienced together through the pandemic all of the cost increase, and this board and everybody at HHFDC has come together to really save the project from what would have scrapped it over all of the cost increase. We completed that process together in November of 2023, and are requiring this extension because we're already submitted to HUD for a Section 221D4 loan and are on the table for that commitment. If this project were not extended or changes in terms of we have schedule of values that are already in place and the bid solicitations for work with contractors who completed the original project. So groups that are very familiar with it, and we're already obviously committed to prevailing wages and the use of HUD dollars as well as the state dollars to ensure quality employment practices. And our concern is that an extension that conditions a labor contract after all of these things have been completed will further delay and increase the cost of the project, potentially resulting in a collapse of the project, as we won't be able to get the senior loan through HUD. We're sitting right at the closing table, and to do this at this point in time, when it seems clear also in the guidelines published by the Department of Accounting and General Services, make pretty clear that it's giving the state time to understand these and work into solicitations, and they will only take effect on bids that are opened in the period commencing from July 1, 2024. This is an extension of existing, and we're just really concerned. We've only had about 8 hours to look at what all of this is, as the state hasn't made us aware that we are a covered project or not. And we believe it has to make some sort of determination based on its own view of the project as an essential function. And with limited review, we're very hesitant that this wouldn't create further delays and increase costs and potentially collapse the deal. Beyond that, I think the larger point is simply that this was all done prior to this being implemented, and the results could be devastating for getting housing produced for homeless veterans on this federal land campus. And so we're looking to get the extension, and part of what this board rightly is looking at with this extension is making this extension the last extension offered on this project. And we're concerned that it puts us in a position, if we have to go back and work out a PLA and enter into agreements to be bound and rebid this entire project, that will be set up for failure on getting this closed on time and the housing in the ground.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. Shall turn it over to staff.
Carol,
Yes.
we talk after staff or we talk after?
We can have presentation done and have
Okay.
discussion among
Okay.
the
All right.
Aloha, members of the board. Thank you for your time today. My name is Jimmy Nguyen, and I'll be presenting this for action request to approve an extension to the Rental Housing Revolving Fund letter of intent for the Hale Uivainalu Phase 2 project located in Kapolei, Oahu, TMK number 191-013052. So some background to this project. The awardee is Cloudbreak Hawaii 2. I have the executive director, Rachel Taylor, over here, available for any comments, questions. This is in Kapolei, Hawaii. The land tenure is leasehold, as Brad Birdwell discussed earlier. It is with the Department of Veterans Affairs as the fee owner under its enhanced use lease program. This project type is new construction, with the target population being families. The length of affordability is 75 years. In total, there will be 50 total units ranging from 30% to 100% AMI produced for this project. Estimated completion time is Q3 2025. Amenities and services. Project amenities include picnic area, community room, elevator, a laundry room, with unit amenities being range, refrigerator, ACs, and disposals. Developer for the project is Cloudbreak Hawaii 2 LLC. And the contractor will be Landmark Builders. So this project is currently the oldest on our books right now. It was originally approved in April 2019 with an original expiration of January 2020. Now, this project has received multiple extensions during the COVID pandemic-related troubles. And with their current negotiations with SHFD, I will have a larger discussion to this as I go along this for action. But currently, the request for extension is to extend their RHRF LOI to October 31st, 2025. Let's see. So staff reviewed the project based on 3 criteria. As with all of our extensions, we reviewed them through site control, entitlements and permits, and financing commitments. In terms of site control, the awardee retains control through an enhanced use lease program with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. The awardee and VA have modified the lease to coincide and accommodate each of the development phases. Currently, the project has a ground lease that expires in 2078. More about this section, that's for this particular parcel for Uivainalu Phase 2. The other parcels for the plan Uivainalu Phase 3 and 4, they're still under negotiation for their respective ground leases. For entitlements and permits, the awardee is working with the Hawaii Community Development Authority, the HCDA, to obtain its improvement permit as required by HRS Section 206E 5.6. You'll notice that from the last 4 action, this is now called an improvement permit. It used to be a development permit because HCDA uses 2 permitting procedures. If it's a development permit, if it's an affordable unit, it can use a development permit for any areas in its jurisdiction. But an improvement permit is similar to that, only that it's for lots that are below 40,000 square feet. The improvement permit process does not require as much public hearing as the development permit process. But Rachel Taylor can expand more on that. The financing commitments, awardee received a conditional commitment from Gershman Investment Corporation for a HUD 221D4 insured mortgage. Gershman continues to manage the senior lending process for the HUD 221D4 and has submitted 90% of complete architectural drawings currently being reviewed by HUD. Awardee has connected the VA and HUD lawyers to negotiate the contract settlement within the enhanced use lease process. And awardee has applied to the city and county AHF program for $400,000 in accordance with the requirements requested from the board's November 2023 increase. This was back when we increased our commitment of the RHRF from $3 million to $9 million for the project, with the condition that they go to the city and county of Honolulu for AHF funds. Looking at the schedule and milestones, we expect the improvement permit to come within Q1 of 2025, with the loan closing following Q2 2025. Construction start is expected towards end of Q2 2025, and building completion Q4 2026. In the supplemental notes section, we note that awardee has been working with the State Historic Preservation Division, SHPD, to meet its requirements for approvals. The details and timeline on their procedure is located under Exhibit D. So awardee applied with SHPD in May 2023. Awardee is awaiting SHPD's letter of concurrence that will state if any monitoring requirements will be needed during construction. Project cannot complete the HCDA improvement permitting process until this approval from SHPD is secured. The project cannot proceed to financial closing until such time the HCDA improvement permits are ready for issuance. So I'm on the closing team and we're requiring that Uhivai Nalu has obtained the improvement permit before we bring them to the closing table. However, looking at the timeline and after discussions with development team and understanding the SHPD approval procedure, the HHFDC finance branch brings this recommendation to the board that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following. Number one, to extend the RHRF LOI dated April 15, 2019 for the Hale Uhivai Nalu Phase 2 project, RHRF loan, to October 31st, 2025, subject to the requirements as set forth in the action dated April 11, 2019, and conditions as set forth below. Number one, no further extensions shall be granted by HHFDC. Number two, failure to meet the amended LOI deadline shall result in revocation of the RHRF award and a prohibition of developer, Cloudbreak, from applying for any HHFDC resources for 12 months from the RHRF LOI deadline to financially close. So this means no applications to our 2026 funding round from Cloudbreak. With all these conditions in mind for the extension, and we also request that there's authorization for the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Members of the board, any question?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I do share the concerns from the Carpenters Union and the Operating Engineers Union. We have had this PLA signed and in effect with the state since December 2023. It's my understanding that a lot of people have been made aware of it. My concern, I just want to make sure that we're following the law and the project labor agreement that is currently signed into law in Hawaii. So my recommendation, I want to see moving forward, so I feel comfortable before voting on this particular project that we get an AG opinion, the state AG opinion on this to see whether or not this actually falls under the state PLA that's currently implemented in Hawaii. I do think that's important for the board to see that answer before we're comfortable being able to vote on this. I'm afraid of litigation in the future if we do not get that opinion from the AG, and that is also going to delay and increase costs as well. That is very likely. So I'll feel comfortable myself personally if we get the AG's opinion on this.
I support Member Bradshaw's concern and would like to ask staff, since the current extension expires on October 31st, whether an expiration of that extension on during the period of time which an AG's opinion might be rendered, does the staff have a concern about what would happen to this project and the commitment of under the rental housing revolving fund for deferral until we get an AG's opinion?
Thank you, Designee Evans. So if the current expiration date of the letter of intent for the RHRF were to expire, HHFDC would no longer have a commitment in place for the funds. So what effect that would have on the project and their financing, we can't determine, but that would be what would happen if the LOI were to expire on October 31st. We would just no longer have a legal commitment in place for the funds.
Yep. Did staff consider the possibility of a shorter extension to allow for a determination whether this is a covered project or covered?
Understood.
So it's a pretty decent job of doing a lot themselves. Either that or you've been doing stuff without help. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it.
Thank you.
So the extension that we brought forth to the board today was based on the request that was provided by the awardee. So whenever we receive an awardee request directly from the awardee, that's the direction we follow and request and doing our extensions.
To accommodate Director Bradshaw's recommendation, we could look at a shorter extension to give the Attorney General prepare an opinion and come back to the board for a longer extension.
Thank you.
David, what kind of extension might accommodate a request to the AG to render an opinion on whether this is a covered project or not? It would not require bringing this back to the board every month.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, I think that's the balance we have to look at right now is, we don't want to continuously bring this back to the board, but we want to give the AG and your staff enough time to render an opinion on this. So I think it would probably not really be up for us to determine, possibly 3 months,
I would need to take back to my department, but obviously,
maybe 3 to 6.
affordable housing.
End of the year, December 30,
So that would be a 3-month extension.
January board meeting.
Comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, we can try. I think there's gonna be different divisions involved in no opinion, but it's not
I
gonna
guess
be one.
we're not asking for a commitment, just.
I
I know you
cannot
can't. I know you
commit,
can't.
I would be comfortable with January, understanding that there might have to be another extension.
Fair.
I think there's gonna have to be interplay, not only with myself, but with other divisions within the AGs, the labor division as well, because they oversee the whole PLA.
Right, and so that'll apply for the other ones too that we might have concerns with that are also in this packet moving forward.
I think we can talk about that when it
Okay.
comes on agenda and if we
Okay.
need to, we can go on.
Okay, got it.
Consult with me.
Okay.
That's a little different because
So Chair, I'll offer an amendment to the main motion. I move that the extension be only until December 31st.
since you asked for my way, can we say till January 31st so we can have the board meeting in January? So
Yes.
that
Okay,
it's a little, we don't want running up.
my amendment is amended. January 31st.
So I don't think we need to amend the motion. Jimmy, I think and David, staff needs to do is amend the recommendation to shorten extension to January or whatever the board desires to be the approval date.
Yep.
To allow for weigh-in by the agents.
On the table.
No, but it's just to approve amendment. So
I
the
see.
recommendation details come from staff.
I see.
So the motion is to approve the extension.
Right, and then the recommendation, are you willing to
So
recommendation?
so staff will request to recommends that the board approve an extension to January 31st, 2025 to the Hollywood Divine Olive basement project.
Okay. Other board members, any questions, concerns? Seeing none. Okay, so we are back to our original motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
The original motion, wait, is with, yeah.
Motion is to amend, it is to amend, but
To
with staff's, using staff's recommendation under the conditions, but the recommendation is only to extend through January 31st, 2025.
With an AG opinion potentially, right? Yeah. With an AG.
In order to obtain AG.
And we're not approving this until an AG opinion.
Correct. Well, I believe what we're doing is we're going to recommend that the board approve an extension of the letter of intent so that the commitment of funds does not expire. Then further, if we need to, the reason for the short extension is to give the board an opportunity to hear the Attorney General's opinion regards to the applicability of the PLA to this particular project.
And that'll be brought back to us when at the board meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because then the project will, based on the timeline provided, additional time to complete their closing. So at that time, allowing a January 31st, we can bring back the findings of the Attorney General and we can approve the last portion of the extension to carry the project through closing.
Okay. Thank you.
Board members, any other questions, concerns? Seeing none, ready to call for the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we have unanimous, ayes, so motion carries.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item E. Approve a request to amend the rental housing revolving fund award and letter of intent for the Hawking Building project located in Honolulu, Oahu, CMK number 117003001.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there anybody from the public who'd like to offer public testimony? Some? I don't. Okay.
Oh, yeah, support.
State your name.
Okay. Good morning, Vice Chair Riemann and distinguished members of the board. My name is Tina Morita, and I'm here to bring a request for the board to amend the Rental Housing Revolving Fund Award and Letter of Intent for the Hawking Building project located in Honolulu, Hawaii, tax map key number 117003001. Okay. Hawking Building is a project located at 2 North King Street in Honolulu, Chinatown District. It is a fee simple property being converted from commercial use to new affordable housing inventory. The project will offer 39 affordable units to families meeting the 50% area median gross income tier requirements or lower, and will have 1 manager's unit. The developer Hawking Building Limited Partnership is targeting a construction completion deadline in the 4th quarter of 2024, with total estimated development costs of approximately $33 million. Hawking Building was originally awarded on July 8th, 2021, with a 9% LIHTC award of $700,298 annually for 10 years for federal LIHTC and for 5 years for state LIHTC. On the same day, the project was awarded an RHF loan of up to $12,350,000. At the time of award, the project also had interim financing from a construction loan with a local bank, historic tax credits, and from its LIHTC equity investors. On February 16th, 2024, Hawking Building Limited Partnership submitted a request to increase the existing RHF loan award by $3,680,000 to a maximum loan amount of $16,030,000. The increased request was evaluated by staff, and the project was deemed still meritorious for an award. During the review, the project shared that total development costs increased by $6,377,912, which was due primarily to direct construction cost increases and financing increases. In an effort to cover the cost increases, the project did secure $3,923,433 from the City and County of Honolulu's Affordable Housing Fund, which covers approximately 61.5% of the increase. The RHF loan increase would cover the remaining cost and would allow the project to pay down some of its senior debt, which would result in positive operational cash flow and payback of the RHF loan. If the request is approved, only the RHF loan amount would change. All other loan terms would remain the same. As the project is currently on task to complete construction in the 4th quarter of 2024, and has begun its lease-up process to ensure stabilization within the 1st quarter of 2025, the staff recommends that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve an increase to the RHF loan of up to $16,030,000 from the $12,350,000 original award for Hawking Building Limited Partnership. Excuse me. And the increase would be subject to authorization and approval by the governor authorization and approval by the governor for the proposed project and the release of RHF program funds as mandated under Chapter 15-311 Hawaii Administrative Rules. Execution of documentation satisfactory to the HHFDC outlining the terms and conditions of the project award. The document shall specify standard terms and conditions as required to meet all statutory requirements of the RHF program and the specific terms and conditions that are applicable to the applicant's request for project award funds. Completion of all documentation necessary and required to secure the release of RHR funds. Certification of the applicant to comply with all applicable statutory and program requirements, including but not limited to chapters 343, 103D, and 104, and section 103-50 Hawaii Revised Statutes as they may relate to the use of state funds. Total fees paid to the developer for the project, including but not limited to developer overhead, developer fees, consultant fees, and project management fees shall not exceed the amounts indicated in the applicant's consolidated application, and is also subject to the availability of RHF program funds. And the staff also recommends authorization by the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes for action.
Thank you. Staff. Any discussion, any questions, board members?
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Did I hear you say that construction has already commenced with this renovation?
Sorry, yes, it has, and they are near completion.
They're near completion.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Chair.
you. Any other questions, comments, board members? Okay. Do we have any public testimony on this? Sorry, no? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. We're unanimous, ayes, so motion carries. Item F. Approve an extension to resolution number, thank you, 198, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Rice Street Apartments project located in the Hui, Kauai, PMK number 436003010. Yeah.
Aloha board, a long time no see. I bring to you a request to approve an extension to resolution number 198, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Rice Street Apartment project located in Lihue, Kauai.
Motion.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you.
So moved. So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Thank you, Mary Alice. Okay. You may proceed. Thank you.
My apologies. So the project name is Rice Street Apartments. Awardee is Rice Street Hale LLC. It is located in Lihue, Kauai. Land tenure will be fee simple upon closing. The current fee owner is 3016 Umi Street LLC. This will be a new construction with the target population being family. Length of affordability is 51 years. Affordability restrictions will be from 30% to 60% AMI. Actually, no, it'll go up to 60% AMI, with 66 units, including one manager's unit being covered. The amenities to the project include a community meeting room, an elevator, laundry room, bike storage, ground floor commercial/retail area, electric car charging, and a computer room. Unit amenities include range, refrigerator, carpet, window coverings, and high-speed internet access. So the developer for this project is Rice Street Hale MMJV LLC. A representative for the developer, Ava Goldman, is in the audience today to take any questions. The land use attorney for the project is Bells Graham LLP. Affordable housing consultant is Ava Goldman Associates. The contractor for this project shall be Unlimited Construction Services Incorporated. This project was originally approved on July 14th, 2022, with an original expiration of July 14th, 2023. It has received 2 extensions so far, and this will be its 3rd extension, requesting for the date of April 14th, 2025. Your staff reviewed the project based on our 3 criteria for an extension: site control, entitlements, and permits, and financing commitments. So the awardee has a fully executed purchase agreement and is going to purchase the land fee simple from an affiliate, 3016 Umi Street LLC. So 3016 Umi Street LLC is an affiliate of one of the partners for the project, Riverbend. So in essence, there is firm site control for the project. Entitlements and permits, the project has all required discretionary approvals and project plans, which have been reviewed and approved by the local municipality, and permits for the commencement of construction are ready for issuance. Financing commitments, we are currently working with the project to close. The awardee has letters of interest from all required funding sources for the syndication of federal and state LIHTC and Bank of Hawaii for the sale of the taxes and bonds. The project also has a grant from the County of Kauai and a $10.5 million RHRF loan commitment from HHFDC. As of now, building permits are ready for issuance. Loan closing is projected Q4 2024. The construction start is expected. I want to draw out this detail. The construction start for the project is expected Q1 2025 because it is currently under negotiations with the current tenant on land to relocate their building and their services. But Ava can speak more to that. So we're expecting that post financial closing, once the financial closing has occurred, there will be a period of relocation, probably 3 to 4 months for that existing tenant, and then officially the construction of the project can begin. With this in mind, we have worked with the developer team and we continue to work with them towards the closing of this project. Loan documents and other financing sources are currently under draft and being reviewed by staff and all parties involved. But we feel confident that we can bring this project to a closing. That is why we recommend that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following. A, to extend the deadline to issue HMMF bonds for the Rice Street Apartments project by 6 months to April 14, 2025. And to authorize the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Ava, did you want to say a few words?
Good morning. My name is Ava Goldman. I'm an affordable housing consultant, and I can see on the Zoom that we have representatives of my client, which are Riverbend and Walter Pratt. I just wanted to say how appreciative we are of HHFDC, particularly its board, how patient you've been, and how close we are to closing. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, board members? Seeing none, thank you so much. Appreciate your comments. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have anybody from the public? Hearing none, okay. I'd like to, all in favor? Aye. The motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, moving on, item G. Approve an extension to the Rental Housing Revolving Fund Letter of Intent for the Rice Street Apartments project located in the Hawaii, PMP number 436003010. Thank you. Second. We have a motion and a second. Thank you. Is there anybody from the public who'd like to offer public testimony? Seeing none, staff?
Okay, hello again. So I bring to the board a request to approve an extension to the Rental Housing Revolving Fund Letter of Intent for the Rice Street Apartments project located in Lihue, Kauai. As you know, the project name is Rice Street Apartments. Awardee is Rice Street Hale LLC. This will be located in Lihue, Kauai. The land tenure is fee simple with the fee owner, 3016 Umi Street LLC, being a subsidiary of one of the partners of this transaction. The project type will be new building, target population family, and the length of affordability 51 years. So this was the project as previously stated in the last request. So I will not be amended or repeat myself. But staff reviewed the extension for the RHRF on the progress made with 4 milestones: site control, entitlements and permits, financing commitments, and the current revised schedule and milestones. So as you know, the site control is maintained. The awardee has a fully executed purchase agreement and is purchasing the land fee simple from an affiliate, 3016 Umi Street LLC. Entitlements and permits, the project has all required discretionary approvals and project plans, which have been reviewed and approved by the local municipality. And permits for the commencement of construction are ready for issuance. Financing commitments, the awardee is currently working with the state and all other financing sources to bring the project to a close, and documents have been drafted and under review by all the respective parties. Schedule and milestone, the project is expected for financial closing of Q4 2024 with a construction start for reasons as stated in the previous request in Q1 2025. Building completion is expected Q3 2026. As stated, the staff is currently going through the closing process with this project, and we feel confident that it will be able to close. That is why we bring to the board the recommendation that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following. A, extend the RHRF LOI and loan closing deadline for the Rice Street Apartments project to April 14, 2025. And B, authorize the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action.
Any questions, discussion, board members? Yes, ma'am.
I noticed the applicant's request for extension to March 14th, and the staff's recommendation is April 14th. Will staff's aligning the 2 extension requests from the previous for action and this one have any negative effects on the project?
No. So this is for amending it back to the March 14, 2025 deadline. Sorry, if you could clarify.
The current request for this was to March 14th, and the staff's recommendation is April 14th.
Yes.
It's consistent with the previous for action.
So you were asking if there'd be any negative effects if we went back to the March date, right? Or
If the staff, yes, correct.
yes, no, there would not be. So we can amend the for action request if it's necessary.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments, board members? No, okay. So we have first a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is unanimously carried. Thank you. We are on item H. Approve resolution number 209, authorizing the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Rice Street Apartments project located in the Hui, Hawaii, TMK number 436003010. Is there anybody who would like to give testimony? No. Okay, so moved. Thank you, Jason. Second, Mary Alice. Okay, staff.
Okay, once again, I come to the board, but this time with a different request. I request that the board approve resolution number 209, authorizing the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Rice Street Apartments project located in Lihue, Kauai. I believe by now, after the 2 previous requests, you have all the facts for the Rice Street Apartments. I won't belabor the point. However, I do want to go over the project's financing as we are approving the issuance. So on July 14, 2022, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved the following for the benefit of the Rice Street Apartments project. 16.2 million in intended HMMF bonds pursuant to resolution number 173. 1.5 million in federal and state light tech in over a 10-year period for the former and a 5-year period for the latter, and 4% light tech, and a rental housing revolving fund loan of up to $10.5 million. On September 14, 2023, HHFDC's Board of Directors approved increases to the funding program awards as follows. The HMMF allocation went from 16.2 million to 20.3 million pursuant to resolution number 193. The amount of annual federal and state light tech went from 1.5 million to 1.8 million in annual federal light and state light tech. And on April 11, 2024, earlier this year, HHFDC's Board of Directors approved increases to the light tech and HMMF again, raising the final HMMF commitment for issuance up to $22 million and a commitment in federal and state light tech of $1.8 million. So this project has received 2 increases so far, making it an exception to how most projects have closed. However, as we work with development team, we feel confident that their final budgets are reflective of and deserving of the increases. On June 19, 2024, HHFDC submitted a request to the Department of Budget and Finance and the Governor's Office after the board approved of its second increase for preliminary approval to issue revenue bonds. The request has been reviewed and approved by Budget and Finance, and I know the for action says is pending governor's signature, but I have good news. Yesterday at 5 p.m., I received notice that the governor's office did approve of the project's final increase request. So staff has that document on hand. It's great news. The available authority under the HMF bond program as of September 30th, 2024 is summarized below on page 3 of 6. So let's see. Staff has reviewed the final budget for the project. In going towards issuance, we note that this project is similar to the previous Hale Opikea 2 project, where there is a commercial component. Staff has discussed extensively with developer team about how the commercial portion will be managed and whether or not it is sufficiently segregated from the residential funds. As you know, there are restrictions on the use of the bonds and the light tech. After extensive discussions and documentation from as provided by developer team, we feel confident in the financing of not only the residential portion, which are the upper 3 floors of the project, but the commercial portion, which in essence for a project like this is the most important because you can't build the 3 without the bottom floor. Our analysis can be seen in the supplemental notes and analysis of the project located on page 5. We've received assurances from developer and as to the financing for the commercial portion. Approximately 6.6 million of funds from the developer will be required to build the commercial portion to a sufficient state to where the residential portion can be made. HHFDC has verified that the developer has sufficient equity and a line of credit to complete commercial development without impeding the residential construction. Final bond issuance is subject to availability of bond cap and approval by the Department of Budget and Finance and the governor. With our extensive discussions and our review of the project, the finance branch feels very comfortable with bringing this recommendation to the board. And our recommendation is that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following. Resolution number 209, which authorizes the tax exempt issuance of up to $22 million from the HMMF bond program, subject to the provisions and conditions detailed therein. And B, authorize the Executive Director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Developer's consultant, Ava Goldman, is on staff or on hand to discuss the project.
I think you just offered me a job.
We would love for you to work here.
Thank you. Board members, any questions? Okay, hearing none, call for the motion. We have a first and a second, and so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, it is now 10:35. I'd like to call for a 10-minute recess. We'll be back at 10:45. Recess. to order. Do we have the online board members back? Jay, Sean? Hi, Sean.
Here.
Thank you. Jay, are you there? Are we okay with forum?
No, we're not. We need to make sure.
We
he's
need
there.
Jay.
Yeah, we need, might have stepped away.
You texting him? Thank you.
So they don't see the text, but they'll hear the
Yeah,
phone.
exactly. You'll hold the ring.
Yeah.
We're back on. Okay, thanks.
Okay, we have forum. We're back in session. And we are on item I to approve resolution number 208, authorizing the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Palolo Homes acquisition and rehabilitation project located in Honolulu, Oahu, TMK numbers 134007016 and 018 and 134008002. Do we have anyone from the public who'd like to give testimony on this item? I see one, Pane. You want to unmute and go
Hi.
ahead?
Hello,
Hi.
Chair, members of the board. Pane Meatonga, PANEMEATOGA, Deputy Political Director for Operating Engineers Local 3. Again, just voicing my same concerns in regards to the state PLA and these types of projects being covered. Thank you.
Thank you. I see, Nathaniel Kinney, you want to go ahead?
Thank you, Chair. Again, just also raising the same concerns. We have a question though. We're wondering, like, is this at a different point of the project, or is it very similar to the other project that we had concerns with? And again, you know, when we point at this specific project, it does say in the definitions in the state PLA that covered projects include any such projects receiving funding from a bond issuance of the state. So this is a bond issuance from the state, and we would like the project labor agreement to apply to this. And again, I guess we're waiting for the AG's opinion to determine when the project labor agreement would be in effect. But again, just raising the same concerns. I wanted to understand, I guess, the process and the flow of this deal to know at what point in time this could be added into the RFP or for the current award as an addendum. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, no other testimony?
Sure.
Yes.
Developers representative.
I guess it's testimony. Good morning. My name is Dave Nakamura, and I'm the Executive Director with the Mutual Housing Association of Hawaii. We're the developer. And so actually to clarify maybe what Nathaniel's question or issue is, it is very different, I think, than the previous transaction that was reported to you, in that our project is actually ready to close financing less than a month from now. And we'll start construction right after that time. We've awarded our contract back in December of 2023, December 13th. And so the project was actually awarded well in advance of the governor's directive. And there's a memorandum that the controller issued back in July of this year. And it specifically says that the directive applies to only projects that are bid after July 1st, 2024. So we were over 6 or 7 months prior to that. So we think it's a whole different situation and doesn't really apply in this case. So, but I have to answer other questions about the project itself.
Thank you. So board members, any other questions?
I'm just gonna echo the same concerns I had with the previous project. The fact that it does say that issuing a bond, it does apply to a project labor agreement. I think we still need an AG opinion on this, so I'd like to see an amendment that get the AG opinion before moving forward on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you, Director Benshaw. So, as the developer mentioned, we are, up until the point of closing. So we're not, today's recommendation that we're asking for from the board is to authorize the bond issuance. We're still about 3 or 4 weeks away from actual closing. I would ask the board that in the interest of the time requested, because this project is in a different circumstance, it's in a place where as the developer has mentioned, contract was awarded last year. But if there is something that we could provide, either developer's attorney opinion in lieu that would satisfy the board that this would or would not apply to the project, or anything to satisfy the board in a shorter time frame than would be needed to get an AG's opinion, just because the circumstances around the project are a little.
I do want to add that the PLA was signed in December of 2023. So it was in effect then. And I don't know, for me personally, I feel more comfortable getting the state AG opinion, which is what I think as a board, we need to see that be able to before moving forward. So
I'd like to make a motion to go into I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to consult with our attorney.
So moved. With the board's attorney.
With the board's attorney. Motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are in executive session.
Through the room, it's a phone. That we want.
Okay,
Just to get everything back in order for Robert's rules, we failed to take a motion prior to testimony. I think we just jumped into testimony. So right now, the vice chair, acting chair will entertain a motion to defer the 4 actions set forth in 3I to a further meeting as determined by the executive director on date and time that's available and will work. Is that your way?
that is correct.
So
Thank you.
moved on that motion.
Second, okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item J. Authorize an application for exemptions from statutes, ordinances, and rules pursuant to section 201H 38 Hawaii revised statutes and approve 1, the certification of High Ridge Cost Development Company LLC or other successor entity approved by the executive director as an eligible developer pursuant to section 15-307-24 Hawaii Administrative Rules. 2, the project proposal, and 3, execution of development documents for approved exemptions for the Hale Moena phases 3 and 4 located in Kapolei, Oahu, TMK number 191088021. And we have a motion, we have a second.
So moved.
Mary Ellis, thank you for the second. Is there anybody from the public who'd like to testify on this item? Okay, seeing none, staff.
David. Good morning, and thank you, Chair and members of the board. My name is Michelle Leong, and I assisted in the review of this 201H application for the Hale Moena phases 3 and 4 project. So at a glance, the proposed project involves the development of phases 3 and 4 of the existing Hale Moena residential project. Overall, the project is comprised of 245 affordable rental units and 2 managers units, 225 parking stalls, 12 short-term bicycle parking spaces, 42 long-term bicycle parking spaces, and indoor and outdoor community space on a portion of the approximately 3-acre property, which is privately owned by Canewood 3 LP. So the developer proposing the project is High Ridge Costa Development Company with Forum Partners as the co-developer. To provide some content or background, the City and County of Honolulu Resolution 16-11 CD1, as amended by City Resolution 17-320, approved the Hale Moena phases 1 through 3 project back in 2016 and 2017, which at the time was known as the Kapolei Mixed Use Development. Phases 1 and 2 were proposed as affordable rental apartments with retail space, and phase 3 was proposed as supplementary retail space. So phase 1, or Hale Moena Kapuna, was completed in 2020 as a senior affordable rental building. And phase 2, or Hale Moena Ohana, was completed in 2021 as a family affordable rental building. Phase 3 was not built and is now proposed to be divided to phases 3 and 4 in this current project as 2 additional family affordable rental buildings instead of retail space. Now, in addition, the existing retail space in phases 1 and 2 are now proposed to be converted into community space for the residents, as the developer has not been able to lease this retail space since the build out. So in total, phases 1 through 4 would include 544 rental units affordable to households earning between 30 and 60% of the US HUD's area median income, or AMI. Now, diving deeper into the specifics of phase 3 and 4, phase 3 includes a new 13-story building with 116 affordable units and 1 manager's unit, which is anticipated to be completed in April 2028. Phase 4 includes a new 14-story building with 129 affordable units and 1 manager's unit, which is anticipated to be completed in March 2029. And phases 3 and 4 both include a mix of studios, 1-bedroom units, 2-bedroom units, and 3-bedroom units. Again, all the units will be affordable to households between 30 and 60% of the AMI. The project also includes the development of approximately 3,922 square feet of new indoor community space and approximately 3,197 square feet of new outdoor community space in phases 3 and 4. And as previously mentioned, approximately 10,311 square feet of existing retail space in phases 1 and 2 will be converted into new community space for residents. But additional details regarding the proposed unit type mix and parking counts are included in section 2 of the 4 action. Section 3, C through F of the 4 action show the proposed budget and sources of funds for phases 3 and 4. And a final environmental assessment in FONSI for the Kapolei mixed-use development was published on November 8th in 2015 in the environmental notice. And HHFDC determined that additional environmental review was not required for the proposed phases 3 and 4. And a notice of that determination was published in the December 8th, 2020 third edition of the environmental notice. The project is situated within the Makakilo Kapolei Honokai Hale neighborhood, Ward number 34 district. The developer presented the project at the neighborhood board meetings on September 27th in 2023 and July 24th in 2024. Additionally, the developer hosted an in-person meeting with the current residents of the Hale Moana phases 1 and 2 on September 12th in 2023. Overall, the community and residents expressed support for the project, and the comments received primarily pertain to project amenities. So the requested 201H exemptions for the project generally include exemptions and deferrals from various city fees, an exemption from the city's park dedication requirement, and exemptions from the underlying B2 or community business district to allow a residential use, to allow an increase of density, to allow encroachment into the building height setback envelope, to allow fewer than the minimum number of required loading spaces and bicycle parking spaces. And the full list of these requested exemptions are in Exhibit G. Please note that the exemptions are presented in Ramsey-R format because the developer is requesting an amendment to the previous 201H resolution to allow the addition of phases 3 and 4. So if the City Council adopts a resolution amending the previous resolution, it will result in a single resolution with all of the 201H exemptions for the entire Hale Moana phases 1 through 4 project. The developer shared this 201H application and the requested exemptions to review agencies who are given 30 calendar days to provide comments. A summary of the comments received from state and county agencies is listed in Exhibit I. And to conclude, staff respectfully recommends that the HHFDC board authorize the 201H application and approve the recommendations in this 4 action, subject to the conditions listed in section 4. And the developer is here today. They have a brief PowerPoint presentation that they're wanting to share and are available for questions.
And I'm a little confused.
Yeah, sorry.
What's the relationship between the city's approval of the 201H exemptions and HHFDC's approval of the?
Oh, okay. Yes, I should have.
No, it's my confusion.
No, so and forgive me if I'm not understanding your question, but essentially, the city council would be approving the 201H exemptions after we submit our request to them.
The board is approving submittal of the
Okay.
application to the city council.
Okay, I understand.
Right.
Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Okay. And the developer wants to present.
Yes.
Good question.
Good question.
You. Everyone, appreciate the board considering this project today. Also want to express my appreciation for HHFDC staff and their review, as well as Executive Director Minakami for matching my outfit today. So Michelle did a great job kind of laying out Shoes? We tried to keep it to the show. Michelle did a great job laying out the basic project details, so I'll run through this pretty quickly in respect of everybody's time. You all are pretty familiar with Howard Costa at this point. We're a nationwide affordable housing developer with primary focus on the Western United States and Hawaii. Our primary mission is changing lives by providing affordable housing in communities that need it most, of which we believe this is certainly one. We're cooperating with foreign partners on this project, who has been an ongoing partner for us and has extensive development history in Hawaii. So we're thankful for their contributions, as well as Ahead Foundation, who is our nonprofit partner, who has also been of great assistance. This is the basic project team. I think most of the names on this list, if not all of them, are familiar to all of you, so I'll move quickly through it. Here's our current footprint. Obviously, we have quite a bit more planned. So for a little bit of background, Michelle, like I said, did a great job explaining a little bit of the history of the project. We came into this deal probably 2018 and worked through the financing to build the first two phases of the project. We were not up until recently, well, up until 2021, involved in phase 3. However, financing issues and other development difficulties led to delays on that project. So in the interest of keeping the site well maintained and providing some additional space to the residents, we acquired the site at that time. Since then, we've been looking at ways to not only provide additional housing for Kapolei, but also to improve the resident experience further for our existing tenants. So these projects will also allow us to build out some of the community space that was originally set aside for retail. Michelle already went through the basic unit mix, but long story short here is between the two phases, we have 247 additional family units. We want to add some additional community amenities, which are a little bit still in flux. We want to continue listening to our current residents in the community, but we're hoping to include a swimming pool, additional recreation fitness centers, barbecue areas, dog park, just open up the project for even better quality of life. We are maintaining the current project height, which was important for us because we didn't want to introduce additional height in that community beyond what we already have. So here are the affordable rent guidelines, which are also in for action. And this is the basic site plan, including both phases 3 and 4. On Plan North, you'll note that the existing retail space is being converted to community space. And then on the south side, Plan South, you'll see phases 3 and 4. We're integrating with the existing parking structure in this project. There will be some parking spaces that are impacted during development. However, the existing retail parking that is not currently in use will allow us to relocate those residents' parking spaces without interruption, which was important for us. Moving through this again just kind of shows the stacking of the units and the parking structure itself. Quickly, and here's the project elevation. This space is the southwest side of the project, from the southwest side of the project, or southeast, excuse me, side of the project. So these are the two new buildings. Behind them are the existing buildings. Some additional elevations. Here's kind of our mock-up of the recreational area near the phase 3 side of the project that we're planning. And here is the dog park that we're going to be adding to the existing phase 1 and 2 side of the project. Some additional concepts for amenity spaces. And so here's the existing kind of view of the community coming from the south. This is the current view and what we expect the project will look like when completed. So it's, in terms of view corridor, not much impact because the buildings are parallel with the existing ones. That was our goal. Here's our current project schedule. Obviously, we're here today. We hope to get City Council before the end of the year for approval and apply for financing early next year in the upcoming round. Hello, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you. Board members, any questions? Go ahead. Yes, Mary Alice.
Do you anticipate being a signatory to a project labor agreement for construction of this project?
High Ridge Costa itself is actually already a signatory, so. Yes, I suppose is the short answer.
I had another, one more question, Chair. I noticed that in the financing projection, there's acquisition. Very good. Is this state land that you're purchasing or is it the private land that you?
So it is private land and we do own it. We're not seeking to earn a profit on the land. We're only seeking to be reimbursed for the capital. So the project will essentially reimburse us for the capital that we put in the land today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nope, seeing none. Okay, thank you. So, board members, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 It's unanimous, motion carries. Okay, the next item, item K, we're going to defer. That's information and summary of the 2024 funding round. Before the end of the year. And the next item, item L, approve an increase to the salary of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation Executive Assistant pursuant to Chapter 201H Hawaii Revised Statutes. And at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second, Jason. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are in executive session. We ready? Okay, we are back in session. It is 11:43. And we are now on we are still on item L. Approve an increase of the salary of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation Executive Assistant pursuant to Chapter 201H HRS.
I move to increase the salary of the executive assistant to $160,000 a year.
I second the motion.
Second, any discussion, board members?
Effective.
Effective
July 1st.
July.
Effective July 1st.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous motion carries. Okay, we are on.
Just for the record,
Huh?
can you just say that we approve the exec session minutes by law, we're supposed to announce what that's gonna be.
Okay, so just for the record, we just approved the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation Board of Directors Executive Session dated September 12th, 2024. Thank you. Okay, we are on to item 4, report by the Executive Director.
Okay, thank you, directors. It's been a very busy month. A little update on Improve by Maru, the project that was brought to the board last year. They did have 4 sales in the past month. The DERF loan did mature in September 30th. We have not extended the DERF loan yet. We have sent a letter signed by ourselves and the senior lender requesting certain conditions be met before we grant an extension. Among the conditions of that, the project must meet certain sales thresholds. Or if it does not meet those thresholds, it must change the project broker. So that letter was sent recently, and we're waiting a response on that letter. As far as the finance branch and their closing, I want to note that the Hale Opia Phase 2 project closed on October 4th. So as of this year, there have been 7 projects that have closed. And the amazing thing is that those 7 projects all closed since June 1st. That's an amazing amount of closing. Just really want to thank AG, but it's a lot of work for her to work on these closing, also budget and finance. But Dr. Salavari went on, I'd like to thank him because it's a lot of work for his staff. All these closing. We anticipate having 4 more closings by the end of the year. So 11 closings in basically 7 months. That's a lot of work.
Excuse me, I heard 5 closing. They told 5.
Oh, it's 5, that'll be 12. Right? So
We'll see.
Also want to note that I was at the National Council of State Housing Agencies annual conference last week. Just to give credit to the staff here, we received the Special Achievement Award. And this award recognizes HFA programs and practices that respond in an outstanding manner to an important state need have a significant impact on the community across traditional program lines. So this is actually it's a pretty big award. This is the one that all the states try to get. So the fact that we got it, I mean, that's credit to the staff here for standing up, implementing that program. All of the agencies were very surprised that a housing agency could respond that quickly. Also, I was very involved in tracking affordable housing legislation. There's a lot of, I would say, anticipation and anxiety about what the next president, whoever that may be, could bring to housing policy. Because you're aware, housing is not just a shortage here in Hawaii, but it's become an issue nationwide where it's estimated that there are over 3 million units that were short nationwide. So there are, you should see what other states are doing. In the past year, I we see I've seen a marked increase in the number of attention to workforce housing developments. For example, in Vermont, they have the Vermont Middle Income Home Program, where they're providing 155,000 average subsidy for workforce housing. In Michigan, they also have a missing middle housing program where they're providing grants of $70,000 to $80,000 for workforce housing, of which they finance 1,400 units. So that's something similar to our RHR program, except that is still, low, it's like outright grant funds. Also, just want to mention, went to several sessions on artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting to see what other agencies are doing. There's actually one agency, the Idaho Housing Finance Agency, where they have a very talented person who, even before ChatGPT came out, they did basically in-house version of that. So they're, of course, now but it's, a lot of folks have a prediction that AI will replace jobs, and what we're seeing is it's not going to replace people, it just augments what they can do. It can facilitate them, help them to be more productive, more accurate, provide more information for the agency as a whole. So I think we're really looking forward to see what can be done here at the state level. We subscribe to Microsoft 365, and they have a AI product for government that is supposed to be coming out by the end of the year. So
Is that Copilot?
Copilot, yes. Copilot for government. So we're waiting to see what capabilities are. And finally, I'll note that right after the conference, there was the Western States Housing Exchange, which was attended by ourselves, California, Washington, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska. We had a chance for all the directors and one staff person, David, attended also. We talk about housing issues and share about what their challenges and successes are. Very good session. Not sure if you want to say anything about the conference, David.
I think what I took away from the conference was it's good when both Dean and I go because we can both attend separate sessions. The majority of the sessions I went to were on permanent supportive housing and its related financing and services. When I first started going to these national conferences, there was maybe one module for all 4 or 5 days dealt with supportive housing in supposedly 1 hour. This conference I went to, there were at least 4 sessions I went to dealing with finance, dealing with special projects that have success stories. There was one that focused specifically on IDD, intellectual and developmental disabilities populations. So the focus across the country is really huge on permanent supportive housing, and I look forward to HHFDC and the state of Hawaii really working towards building our own solution for this. This is actually serving these types of residents is a need. It's like another gap in housing that's not being met. And I think the common theme I heard in success with these different programs across the country is close, coordinated, and successful collaborations with all the state agencies, because no one agency has all the expertise and all the tools to make it work. So it's an opportunity, I think, for us to work with other state and county agencies to make these projects work. We have some guidelines and we have some directions that we're going to head into. So looking forward to doing a lot of that this coming year.
That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, board members, we're at the end of our agenda. It is now 11:52 and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Motion.
Motion.
So moved.
You don't actually need a motion. Robert's rule says you don't need a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks for getting it done before.
Thank you, everyone.
I go to my canvassing now. Yeah.